Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara received judicial warrants around 12:15 p.m. yesterday for the apprehension of David Lee, Minister of Housing and Member of Parliament for Caroni Central, and Hugh Leong Poi, proprietor of Sport Outlet Limited. Investigators allege that Lee improperly used his parliamentary tax exemption to facilitate the importation of the vehicle for Leong Poi, despite knowing he was not entitled to such benefits. Addressing the arrest, the Prime Minister, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, said, "We have respect for the courts of the land." Minister Lee was acquitted of these allegations. That's the thing about it, he was acquitted already. Now that the charges have been relayed, DPP, what are you doing? We have confidence in the courts to deliver a just result. My response: meanwhile, investigators continue to ignore the HDC PNM scandal and the $2.7 billion money that was supposedly never missing, but it was only simply a clerical error. I went on to ask this question: was the money stolen, or was it used to fabricate? Was the money stolen, or was it fabricated in order to give TNT increased figures to be recorded for the fiscal revenue, so that it wouldn't appear to be that our economy was completely collapsing? What are you doing, our dear Commissioner of Police? What about Roger Alexander? When will investigations be launched into PNM's 10 years of corruption? You are the Minister of Homeland Security. Yes, there's separation of powers, but something must be done. Who is going to launch the inquiries, the criminal investigations into PNM's 10 years of corruption? Who? Are we going to depend on the Commissioner of Police? Is it even his duty to do that? I'm just asking questions, people. I went on to say, how did these pipers from the PNM become millionaires during their time in office? A lot of these individuals, when you look back at the older pictures, they were basically middle-class citizens, and now they look as though they are filthy rich. What went on during those 10 years? And why half a $1 trillion of our taxpayers' dollars cannot be accounted for? Yes, they did some good, like building a few, like the Sangre Grande Hospital and the health center and whatsoever, and some other places that they probably either renovated the central block in the Port of Spain Hospital. But you are talking about $500 billion in 10 years, nearly 10 years. That cannot account for what took place, people. Something needs to be done. And also the DPP needs to be investigated, because why it is that most of the times we are only seeing UNC individuals being investigated. Why we are not seeing PNM being charged? Okay, the investigation, the DPP cannot investigate, but charged. What is going on? I just don't get it. Sleep better. Say goodbye to stiff necks, headaches, and restless nights. Our premium cervical pillow is designed to perfectly support your neck and spine, keeping your body aligned while you sleep. Soft yet firm, it adapts to your shape, giving you ultimate comfort and deep, rejuvenating rest. Whether you sleep on your back, side, or stomach, this pillow reduces pressure points, eases tension, and helps you wake up feeling refreshed and ready to conquer the day. Invest in your sleep. Your neck will thank you. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and feel the difference from the very first night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ian Allen. This is breaking news. A man identified as Darren Mohammed was just shot dead. This is the Joyce Road. As you can see, Medex, next to Medex Pharmacy. A man identified as Darren Mohammed was just shot dead, a prominent businessman. We're going to keep you posted. We are currently on the scene with the police and whatnot. Thank you.
Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander is standing by his position that certain young adults, arguing that their actions and intention in committing serious crimes reflect adult-level decision-making. Exactly. Perfectly stated. And I tell you, I have issues with Roger Alexander, but he's doing good in general, people. When I'm criticizing members of the UNC cabinet, it doesn't mean that I'm totally against them or anything like that. I just want them to do better. Even when it pertains to the body cams, yes, I'm Roger Alexander. Body cams is a priority for police officers to use. But anyhow, getting back to the topic here, my response was, children, don't join gangs. Recruit new gang members. That's all what a lot of them are going to school for, is to recruit gang members and also sell narcotics. They also don't have intimacy with classmates. Neither do they smoke weed, sell weed, commit robberies, fight after or during school, and torment the lives of teachers and students who actually desire to receive an education. Because you see, a lot of people will say, but here there are school fights. That's just a common thing. It's young people and whatsoever. But these are most of the times nowadays, especially, and even back all in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. A lot of the times it's because it was gang rivalry, and it just wasn't as prominent back then, and they didn't have social media. But it has gotten a lot worse. A lot of the times now, these youths are actually members of gangs, and they meet and they plan before, whether it's via WhatsApp groups or what. You just see them gathering in Sandy Grande and all over Trinidad and Tobago on an afternoon, and everybody is just waiting to see the fight take place. It is planned. These are planned fights. They're not, this is not only sporty moment. Sometimes you're in school or whatsoever, and somebody get you vexed and you get in a fight. We could understand that, and the teachers could probably deal with that. And if it is, and if they're still repeating those kind of acts in the school as well, they need to be removed from the school system. It is as plain as that, people. But anyhow, I went on to say, if they were children, they wouldn't be living adult lives. So therefore, if you already believe you're an adult, then arrest them and charge them as adults. And if they're convicted, let them face adult prison time.
Who do you see on those videos? Generally, who are the young people? And I'm saying to you as Minister of Education, I've seen many of the files cross my desk, and many of those children who are misbehaving have PNM mothers, PNM grandmothers, PNM fathers. And I'm saying to us that as a party, we have to enter the fight to help them. And as the Women's League, we have a role in helping our PNM mothers parent even better than they are. We have a role in understanding when we have single mothers that they need help.
Ladies, meet your new go-to bag, our mega duffel handbag, perfect for your travel, shopping, the gym, and everything in between. Crafted from premium Oxford material, it's not just stylish, it's built to last. The ideal size, flawless design, and unbeatable quality make it the bag you'll reach for every time. Versatile and ready for anything. WhatsApp 762-6589 to order yours today. A woman watched in horror as her boyfriend, Michael Francis, 27, also known as Boy Boy, was fatally stabbed in Port of Spain on Sunday morning. According to reports, Francis and his current girlfriend were involved in a heated confrontation with an ex-girlfriend at the corner of George and Prince Streets near Pagos Bar. Francis intervened in the argument and was allegedly stabbed once in the chest. Now, that's the thing about it is they're saying everybody was involved. Yes, he was involved, but it seems as though he was trying to just calm things down. The girlfriend took Francis to the Port of Spain General Hospital, where he died at 11:13 a.m. The suspect fled the scene and remains at large. Police, including homicide and CSI units, are investigating the circumstances surrounding the fatal stabbing. Condolences to the family, and I hope justice is served. And as long as once this individual is apprehended, charge them with first-degree murder. Stop with this manslaughter nonsense. Male or female, when you commit these kind of acts, you need to face rope justice. No more overheating phones. Cool your phones in seconds. prevents damage to phones and battery issues, better gaming experience and streaming, USB powered and fast charging, lightweight and quiet, ideal for kids and adults, works with all smartphones, makes a great gift. Call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Even in her final moments, a mother of two from Marabella expressed concerns for her 9-year-old son's safety, mustering all her strength to urge him to run for his life. Ikisha Frida Willman, 43 of Teresa Street, in an area known as The Line, was stabbed to death on the night of October 6th by men who stormed into her house where she was with her son. After being stabbed, she cried out for her son, urging him to run. In agony, she stumbled to the back door and fell down the stairs, landing on the ground outside. The child, who was in another part of the house, thankfully, probably might have ended up losing his life as well, rushed to her side but was unable to help. I can imagine that torment that child went through. He alerted other relatives nearby, who quickly put her in a car and rushed her to the San Fernando General Hospital, where she was declared dead. The stabbing occurred at around 7:30 p.m. on October 6th. The killing marks the second tragedy to strike the family in the past 3 years. Ikisha Wildman's brother, Atiba Wildman, was gunned down by a group of men in the area 3 years ago. Now, of course, we have to take into consideration motive. Motive. Was she a witness to something? Was she involved in something that her brother was also involved in? What's really going on? I don't know. Hopefully the TTPS could be able to enlighten us and give us some information, we the public, of what took place there. Nevertheless, whoever committed this crime needs to face rope justice. Same thing again. This is definitely not manslaughter. This is premeditated murder. And therefore, quick trial. Look what's going on in Guyana. Guyana, a murder case recently, I think it was about 3 years. Why do we have to be still waiting all kind of 10 years to be able to complete a murder case here in Trinidad and Tobago, a murder trial in Trinidad and Tobago? No. Reform the judicial system as quickly as possible. Our dear Prime Minister Kamala Prasad be set up to ensure that even the appeal cases can be completed before the 5-year limit, and send these individuals via the judicial system to eternity. Premium touchscreen wireless headsets restocked. 1.9-inch HD full-color touchscreen. ANC and ENC noise reduction for crystal clear calls. 9D panoramic sound. Long battery life and fast charging. Control music, videos, TikTok, YouTube, and much more. Camera feature, voice assistant, timer, stopwatch, and lyrics on screen. Water resistant, sleek design. Available in gold, black, blue, and purple. Gift ready packaging with replacement earbuds included. Never lose your earbuds again with the Find Headphones feature that actually works. Don't miss out. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order. Limited stock available. Disaster response teams and cleanup crews were in West Moorings yesterday morning due to a severe weather event which left numerous homes without roofs. The Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Khadija Amin, who really does a wonderful job. She really works hard, and I hope that the rest of ministers follow in her example. Along with Minister in the Ministry of Housing, Philip Edward Alexander, well, we know he's always a guy that is on the move, working, visited the affected areas, residents later that same day. I hope that all the issues will be addressed, just like they will continue to do throughout Trinidad and Tobago, not because West Moorings is a big shot area that means that they should be neglected. Tired of losing your keys, phone, or coins in that annoying gap between your car seat and the console? We've got the perfect solution. Our universal car seat gap fillers are back in stock, ready to save your stuff and make your ride clutter-free. Available in black, brown, beige, and red, they're designed to fit any car seat and blend perfectly with your interior. Simply WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and enjoy delivery straight to your door in just 1 to 3 days. Regional news now, starting off with Jamaica. Grief and shock have gripped Rosemount Primary, an infant school in St. Catherine, as 2 students were among the victims of Sunday night's mass shooting in Commodore Linstead Street, St. Catherine. 5 people were fatally shot and 4 others were injured. Peaceful Caribbean region. Amen? Amen to all the tribals outside there that don't like the war against terror in the region. Among the deceased is 4-year-old Shannon Gordon, who attended the school. An 11-year-old schoolmate who is critically injured is now battling for life in hospital. It was also disclosed that Aisha Washington, a parent of another student at the school, was among those killed. I hope justice is served and that these most likely gangsters apprehended. And I don't know if Jamaica has rope justice, but they should if they don't.
My left here is Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Christopher Phillips. He's in charge of Pier 5. For those of you who don't know, in Pier 5 encompasses St. Catherine North, St. Catherine South, St. Thomas, and St. Andrew North. And this lady to his right is Senior Superintendent Data Direct, and she is the officer in charge of the CCN, Constabulary Communication Network. We have other persons are here, and this morning we are here because of that incident that took place last night, which led to the death of a student and also the injury of another student. So, ACP Phillips, Ms. Garrett, we're just here. We want to, before we start, I'm going to ask the board chairman just to offer a word of prayer.
When I heard the barrage, sat down, recommend my wife was very traumatized now. But I said, don't be calm. Notice we heard it subsided and the people leaving in a hurry. Then I started to call members of the community that I know is in close proximity. How are you doing? Are you alive? Yes. And when I was assured that they were fine, then I went to bed. It's a tough one. Never ever in my lifetime in Commodore we had 5 people destroyed at the same time. Never.
And she took a picture of the child, which I placed on my status to celebrate my student, as I've always done. And I gave her $1,000, I gave the child $1,000, and I gave the aunt $1,000. And said, just buy some refreshment in there for the little girl, it's her birthday. And to hear in the middle of the night, my phone kept ringing that she died. I cried. So I can only conclude by saying it is time for us to stop the crime and violence. It's time for us to stop killing our children. And I have all confidence that the Jamaica Constabulary Force will do justly. We continue to support our staff as they are mourning. They were beautiful children. We all cried together at this time, and I know the Ministry of Education from Region 6, they are on their way to offer additional support, and we thank them in advance. So may we continue to unite against this monster of crime and protect our children at all costs. Thank you so very much again for coming.
You won't be disappointed with this one. Look and feel great every day. Painless trimming with no pulling of hair guaranteed. Comfortable to hold and lightweight. Intelligent anti-pinch system. Safety travel lock. Accurate and painless trimming. Durability 100% quality. fast charging. To place an order, call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, Jamaica of course, says that the recent mass shooting in Commodore Street, St. Catherine, that left 5 people dead and 4 others injured. Look here the amount of people, we're calling Caribbean place a Caribbean region, a peaceful region, was an act of criminal terrorism. He's 100% correct. Designed to cause the highest level of fear and undermine the effectiveness of the state. He urged that police dedicate resources to the investigation to ensure the perpetrators are brought to justice and to prevent reprisals. Exactly. And as I said before, if you never had rope justice, make it law now. Make it law, people. Stop leaving these people in prison. Send them into eternity. Quick trials, ending with being sent into eternity is as simple as that. And also, maybe it is time, even here in Trinidad and Tobago, to classify illegal gangs, criminal gangs, as terrorist organizations, and therefore that might give the police more powers, legal powers, instead of these illegal extrajudicial powers in order to wage war against these criminal gangs.
I'm here to personally express to the family members my own personal and sincere and deep condolences on this very tragic incident which has taken the lives of 4 innocent Jamaicans and has threatened the lives of members of the community. And I'm hoping for the speedy recovery of those who were injured in this gruesome, unwarranted attack. I'm also here to assure the families and loved ones of the victims that the Jamaican state and government will support them through this very difficult time, whether it is with support in counseling or in supporting any other needs that may arise. As I have met with some of the family members, I am seeing where there are needs, and some have even expressed particular support that they would require. So the entire government will be mobilized to give support to the victims and the loved ones of the victims. Now, I'm also here to highlight a few other important facts that should give context to the Jamaican discourse on our law enforcement strategy. We have been very successful in reducing murders. We have reduced murders consistently over the past 3 years. And that has to be balanced against the need to reassure the public that the security forces are operating in such a way as to preserve life, to exemplify the highest respect for human rights and dignity, and to ensure that how they operate is to target specifically those who are committing the crimes and those who are supporting them, as well as to undermine the ecosystem that protects them, and that the innocent does not become a victim of our effort. And it is a delicate balance sometimes, but I am confident that the security forces understand the mission. I am confident that they have taken the necessary steps in terms of training, in terms of intelligence, in terms of investigation, and the government has given the support in terms of equipment, legislation, and policy direction to ensure that the mission, which is not just to reduce crime, in particular murders, but to create a peaceful Jamaica. That is the mission. But I'm also here to point out that the mission, though we are making progress, is not complete. And the conversation cannot proceed as if there are not dangerous and evil persons still in our midst with the capabilities to unleash on an innocent population the greatest terror and to deprive innocent Jamaicans of their lives. Criminals, evil men, gangsters are still in the midst of our society. And the only thing that protects us from them is our security forces that defend the law. And I say that very importantly. It is in the defense of the law that our security forces have the credibility in the minds of the public to pursue the strategy. So this incident in which arbitrary attack, was unleashed on innocent citizens. By all accounts, a 4-year-old, 11-year-old, a 19-year-old, a mother of 3 children. By all accounts. Now, the conversation in the public domain as well about our crime fighting strategy sometimes forget the victims. And so my presence here as well is to highlight that we must also focus on the victims. You know, the 3 children who are left behind by the murder of an innocent mother. The father who was just crying a while ago, his son didn't get to give him a grandson. The grandmother who was crying in her room, who was saying her grandson was the one who took care of her. The society must place great importance on the victims of crime, in as much as sometimes we pay to the perpetrators of crime. The victims of crime deserve justice for Jamaicans too. And the society, in how we speak, the narratives that we create around our situation, I think it is only fair that in the balance, the favor is towards the victims. So my presence here today is to also highlight the victims. But the nature of the crime is one that should also be highlighted. This crime amounts to what I would describe as an act of criminal terror. It's an act of terror, but take it out of the context of political terrorism. This is criminal terrorism. This is designed to bring on the people of the community the highest level of fear. As the families would have pointed out to me, they don't feel safe, they want to move. They feel that there could be other attacks coming. This is designed to undermine the effectiveness of the state, because this area was not without policing. This area was a part of the policing strategy to keep crime down in the area. There was police presence here. There was intelligence. But these men felt that they were emboldened in a barefaced way to come into this area and show that they are not in fear of the law, and in fact, they could commit a crime with impunity and as if there will be no consequence for this crime being committed.
News from Guyana now. When U.S. prosecutors unsealed an indictment against Nazar Mohammed and his son Azruddin Mohammed, the paper trail painted a clear picture of an alleged sophisticated scheme to evade millions in taxes and royalties owed to Guyana while funneling their wealth through international wires, shipping companies, and luxury assets. The 17-page indictment handed down in the Southern District of Florida. Florida, so it's not Guyana, so they can't say it's the president that is trying to, falsely accuse his political opponents of any crime. This was in Florida, people. So the 17-page indictments handed down in the Southern District of Florida sketch a trail of gold and deceit that began since 2017. During the tenure of the APNU plus AFC coalition government, and allegedly ran for 7 years across flowing from Georgetown to Miami and from Dubai to California, a trade system designed to evade taxes and enrich the men behind one of Guyana's largest gold exporters. According to U.S. prosecutors, the family business Mohammed's Enterprise paid the Guyana Revenue Authority 2% tax and the Gold Board 5% royalty, the required taxes and royalties on select gold shipments in order to secure official seals. But rather than repeat the process legally, the indictment alleges that the Mohammeds reused those seals, the same seals, instead of going back and paying their taxes over and over again. And customs declarations on subsequent shipments, tricking the system into believing taxes had been settled when in fact they had not. To make matters worse, the father and son duo are accused of bribing Guyanese customs officials to look the other way as shipments left Georgetown bound for Miami and Dubai. The result, prosecutors say, was the export of more than 10,000 kilograms of gold without the proper taxes being paid, depriving Guyana of roughly US $50 million. That's a whole lot of money, people, between 2017 and 2024. This was the guy that even the media was trying to portray as a perfect option instead of President Irfan Ali. Just imagine if Win had really won the elections recently, the problems Guyana would have been facing now. They might have ended up facing a lot of sanctions from America as well. Thank God that Win did not win. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines police force has launched a homicide investigation following an incident that occurred at approximately 12:50 a.m. Tuesday, October 7th, 2025 in Glen. The deceased has been identified as Denroy Black, 31 years of Glen. The police say preliminary reports indicate that Black sustained a stab wound to the neck following an altercation in this peaceful Caribbean region. He succumbed to his injuries while being transported for medical attention at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. Condolences to the family, and I hope that justice is served and the perpetrators are sent after the trial in court are sent into eternity. Premium touchscreen wireless headsets restocked. 1.9-inch HD full-color touchscreen. ANC and ENC noise reduction for crystal clear calls. 9D panoramic sound. Long battery life and fast charging. Control music, videos, TikTok, YouTube, and much more. Camera feature, voice assistant, timer, stopwatch, and lyrics on screen. Water resistant, sleek design. Available in gold, black, blue, and purple. Gift-ready packaging with replacement earbuds included. Never lose your earbuds again with the Find Headphones feature that actually works. Don't miss out. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order. Limited stock available. International news now. Fed on a hit list. The suspected Latin Kings gang leader is now in custody after allegedly offering cash bounties of up to $10,000 to capture and kill a senior immigration officer involved in Chicago's Operation Midway Blitz. Remember, these criminals are furious that they can no longer traffic human beings into America via the southern border, which is now fully protected. It doesn't mean that a few don't enter, but it's nowhere near like how the crisis that was taking place under Biden's governance. Candace Owens posted a photo of texts allegedly, we don't know if those are legitimate texts, but if it was, then that's really sad. Allegedly from Charlie Kirk, claiming he lost a $2 million per year Jewish donor because he refused to cancel Tucker Carlson being part of his program. These texts were allegedly sent 48 hours before the passing of Charlie Kirk. My response? Candace is being controlled by the Antichrist spirit. If people don't realize that, they really need to read their Bible. Sadly, Charlie Kirk, was heading down a similar path before he was murdered. Even if those texts aren't real people, we have to face one fact. Charlie Kirk was inviting people like Tucker Carlson to feature in his Turning Point programs and events, and that was terribly wrong. I wanted to say Tucker Carlson should have never been allowed to speak on Turning Point USA platform unless, listen to this people, and this is where common sense comes into it, unless it was during a debate with Charlie Kirk or some other member of the of his organization, who would have been able to debunk Tucker Carlson's anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic narratives. I hope Christian Americans ask themselves this question. Listen to the question. Would you sponsor an anti-Christian or anti-Zionist organization? Why should Jews agree to fund those types of groups? Why was Charlie Kirk upset or angry that his Jewish sponsors were saying, listen, we are going to pull sponsorship if you continue to feature and highlight people like Tucker Carlson? That's not trying to bully him. That was just telling Kirk plainly, Charlie Kirk plainly, listen, if you're no longer pro-Israel, we are pro-Israel. And therefore, we cannot continue to sponsor your program. That's not bullying. Doesn't the conservative right always say that if there are certain companies that are pushing woke ideologies and concepts, that we should boycott them, which is basically cancel culture, anyhow you take it, but it is a justified reason to do it. So just the same way how you all could say you will boycott a company, these Jewish sponsors had all rights to also say, listen, we are not going to fund your program anymore. More than 30 Christians have been beheaded at the hands of Islamic State terrorists in Mozambique, according to a report. The Islamic State Mozambique Province, or ISMP, announced that they destroyed at least 7 churches, committed acts of arson against Christians and village civilians, and shot and beheaded more than 2,000 people in Cabo Delgado and Nampula provinces in the northern area of Mozambique. And you could believe this, that there are people outside here who will be celebrating that. Jihadists, even here in Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean, will be celebrating that these freedom fighters sent certain individuals, Christians, into eternity. You know, that is not right at all. That is really evil. My response: freedom fighters feel oppressed with Christians who refuse to convert. And that's just the reality, because it's taking place in the Congo. It's taking place in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being murdered by these so-called freedom fighters. So when they're trying to make the excuse that Hamas and Palestinians are only committing these acts of terror because they are feeling oppressed, what excuse do these jihadists have in Sudan and Nigeria and the Congo? What excuse does ISIS have in Syria for trying to eradicate the Jews? I mean the Druze, D-R-U-Z-E. What excuse do they have? They are feeling oppressed as well? No. So therefore, the only oppression that they could really have in their mind is that they believe that once you refuse and say, no, I'm not going to convert, they feel oppressed. That's the only logical explanation. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, in a statement marking 2 years since October 7th, the disaster, the terrorist attack by Hamas and Gazan civilians, he said, I bow my head in memory of the murdered and the hostages. Promise to continue the fight until everyone is returned, the elimination of Hamas rule, and a guarantee that Gaza will no longer pose a threat. We are in decisive days. Together, we will win. Bear in mind, people, that even though there was such a wonderful deal that Qatar and all agreeing with, Hamas is still refusing to comply. Hamas is still refusing to release the hostages. And then, you know, what's the sad thing about it is, tribals all over the Caribbean, tribals will say, Israel is still at fault, you know. Even though the Arab states are backing this deal that was made by President Trump and Witkoff. And the sad thing is, you know what Trump and Witkoff gonna do? Instead of saying enough is enough, although they've said it over and over again, they probably will say enough is enough in a couple of days, you know. And while Israel says, okay, we are back and we are fully attacking Hamas in Gaza City again, you know what Trump and Witkoff gonna do? They're gonna go behind Israel back and try to come up with another peace deal again. I'm telling you, Netanyahu needs to gain more courage and tell President Trump plainly, you, President Trump, are not the king of Israel.
They used them.
As I said, there were attacks on Khan Yunis in the south.
No one cared about the humanitarian fate of Israel when they attacked the 7th of October. No one cared when a pregnant woman, while she alive, was slaughtered at her womb, taking out her baby, shooting the baby and the mom while dragging it. No one cared when they chopped off literally legs, heads, hands, organs from their bodies of civilians. No one cared about humanitarian. We have abductees from over 35 countries. 35 countries of the world. I turned to every possible women's organization of the world. Everything. No one answered back. Not the human rights organization, which I feel them all. Not the UN. Where's human rights? But human rights are secluded only to one side of the world, not to the Israel. So when we're talking about humanitarian aid, we should look very well about what they did to us. We didn't start this war. This war was forced upon us.
You're not suggesting that Israel should retaliate the same way that Hamas acted,
Obviously not. We're not barbarians. We're not cannibals. We're not Nazis like them. But make no mistake, Israel will no longer live next to terrorism. Will no longer live next to Nazi threats.
There's a genocide in Gaza, but the population has increased by 50,000 per year. There's a genocide in Gaza, but the so-called victims keep rejecting ceasefires that would save them because they won't agree to release the innocent people they kidnapped or stop trying to kill Jews. There's a genocide in Gaza, but Israel, the alleged perpetrator, has been providing food, aid, and electricity to the alleged victims and creating safe zones for them to not be killed while also supposedly trying to kill them. There's a genocide in Gaza, but most of the dead, according to their own data, are military-aged men. There's a genocide in Gaza, but it coincidentally started right after the victims invaded Israel and slaughtered 1,200 people on October 7th. Gaza is the first genocide in history to start with the victims shooting up a music festival, abducting children from their beds, and gang-raping corpses for fun. It's the first genocide that started by committing a genocide. It's a genocide. There's a genocide in Gaza, but the victims are in a position to negotiate and demand the release of thousands of convicted murderers and billions of dollars in foreign aid in order to stop their own suffering. It's not extortion, it's a genocide. There's a genocide in Gaza, but the leaders of the brave resistance are billionaires in Qatar and Turkey, publicly stating that they need more martyrs, not less, more of their own people to die for PR purposes. There's a genocide in Gaza, except the victims fire 20,000 rockets at their neighbors and then hide in tunnels while also claiming to be defenseless. There's a genocide in Gaza, and it's the world's first live-streamed genocide, except there is no genocide in Gaza, and you're all being scammed by Islamic fundamentalists who would hang you from a crane if you weren't so incredibly useful in spreading their lies and making them rich and powerful.
Sleep better. Say goodbye to stiff necks, headaches, and restless nights. Our premium cervical pillow is designed to perfectly support your neck and spine, keeping your body aligned while you sleep. Soft yet firm, it adapts to your shape, giving you ultimate comfort and deep, rejuvenating rest. Whether you sleep on your back, side, or stomach, this pillow reduces pressure points, eases tension, and helps you wake up feeling refreshed and ready to conquer the day. Invest in your sleep. Your neck will thank you. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and feel the difference from the very first night. Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.